Hey everyone, this is Kate Weatherwise, your favorite weather girl, coming to you on Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. It is 6 p.m. on the West Coast, which means it's 9 p.m. on the East Coast. And tonight's weather video is going to be about the country. We're going to go around the country regionally and talk about what the weather is currently and for the next 5 or 7 days, what is coming down the pike. And we'll also verify what has happened based on things that I have said in the past few days. Have they come to fruition or have they not come to fruition? But before we get started, if you aren't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when my next video comes out. I really appreciate it. This is a huge passion of mine that I've been doing, not necessarily for YouTube, but in local settings, friends, family, weather groups, for years and years and years. And I just decided to dive in and start doing this on YouTube as well. So I really appreciate your support, and let's get started. All right. We're going to go over to Montana. I did talk about earlier this week some Arctic air that was going to be invading your state from Canada, and that has come to fruition. As you can see here, the temperatures are ranging from 10 degrees to minus 10 degrees, except for the mountains. The cold air has really stayed in the eastern part of the state, and I kind of alluded to that too, central and eastern, and I wasn't even sure how far south it was going to go. It is not reached as far south as Wyoming, but it has reached for central and almost southern Montana as well, where it's 10 degrees in Billings right now, -4, -9 up in Great Falls. And this is cold air that's going to be with you for another few days. And then it's actually going to migrate a little east by Thursday and Friday. And if we take a little tour, Montana is the coldest area of the nation currently. If we go a little east, it warms up a bit. We have some snow around the Minneapolis area. Temperatures are below freezing. But if you go east a little bit further into Michigan, you're above freezing with some fog. That is not fun because they've had so much snow, and then when it goes above freezing, it starts to melt and it creates that ground fog. So that is something you're dealing with tonight. Can be the same. That is the same for Pennsylvania and up into upstate New York. You're seeing some mixed precipitation here next to the lake. Oh, actually, those reports just went away, so maybe it's not raining anymore. But you travel down south and you have temperatures in the low 70s for Key West, which is not a bad evening, seeing that it is 9 o'clock at night there. And all along the Gulf, it is in the 60s to near 70 degrees, which is very, very nice. And then you come back into Texas and it is in the 60s and 50s for some areas. And you come over here to New Mexico and you see that there is a thunderstorm bubble. All of these bubbles here that we see all around the country, these are areas of thunderstorms that could develop enough in the way of ingredients are there, but it may or may not happen. Garden variety thunderstorms. That's what is happening here. We have some showers moving through northwest New Mexico, and there was a strong shower, which is why this box is here. It's a special weather statement. And you come into Phoenix, into the state of Arizona, you have some snow in the mountains here and some rain down in the desert. And of course, California, you have been a focus this week because you have had feet and feet and feet of snow in the Sierra Mountains, and that's not going to stop. There's a couple more systems that are going to be coming through, creating just ground or just a large amounts of snow for the Sierras as we go through until the weekend. Now, Western Washington, you are experiencing some rain as well. If we look at the radar here, you will see those rain showers moving through. There's some grapple showers as well. There's a report of snow. They have what you call a convergence zone where the winds come in perfectly from the Puget Sound and they converge right over here, right around between Everett and Seattle, which usually ends up being right around here. The winds sort of converge and it creates a convergence zone where sometimes it's like a lake effect snow on a situation like there is around the Great Lakes region, and it can dump rain or snow or hail or sleet or grapple in a very short distance. It can inches sometimes, and then you go a little further north or a little further south and there's nothing. So that's kind of what's happening in this area right now. And if we zoom out a little bit, that is going to be our tour for the country at the moment. And we're going to head over to what is happening in this part of the country where we have red flag warnings for Missouri into Kansas, into Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, into central Oklahoma. We've seen just massive brush fires just whip through central Oklahoma with 70-mile-per-hour winds, just very, very difficult to keep up with, into the panhandle of Texas, into eastern New Mexico, and southeastern Colorado. Now, this is going to continue to migrate to the east, and I will show you here in a moment why this is happening. And then as you look at other parts of the country, there's lots of winter storm watches, winter weather advisories for North Dakota, and then you come over here, and this purple is all winter weather advisories, and winter storm watches continue for the Sierras and Northern California and into the Cascades of Oregon, and just lots and lots of activity that, like I've talked about. Now, go over here real quickly to the satellite imagery. Right here is where all of the wind is happening and the red flag warnings, which means high winds, higher than you would like, with really low humidities and no precipitation. So with that and warmer temperatures, and with all of those ingredients together, any sort of anything could spark a fire. If it should spark a fire, it could just take off without much thought. So I have to deal with that up here in eastern Washington in the summertime, so I know exactly what that is, and it does not leave you with a good feeling throughout the day. Now, as you can see, there's precipitation moving into the Portland area. We have some snow coming into Minneapolis. We saw that on the map being reported with some snow. And then we also have, this is the cold air. You can see it coming down here and why it's so cold, especially in eastern Montana. And now it's also coming into North Dakota, South Dakota, and it's streaming down into this low pressure system, bringing this snow here in and around the Minneapolis area. So this will continue to filter down and create this scenario. Now we're going to head over here to the latest model. This is the European model for the rest of this week that we're going to take a quick look at. And you can see this blue line and the red lines. Now this is where the colder air is. This is the above air temperature air is. And then this low pressure system that is coming through the center of the country right here, that is this difference here between the colder and the warmer. That's why we are having all of this wind, and it's propagating east. As there were red flag warnings up in here yesterday, now they're over here today, and it keeps propagating east, but as it goes, it's getting cold behind it because of the low pressure system. So this colder air, the winds are going to be coming out of the north. It's going to cool down. So hopefully that will relax the red flag warnings for as it goes east. And this low pressure system is actually going to head northeast and bring in some rain, but then behind it, it's going to bring in some colder air, which will kick off some lake effect snow showers in the Great Lakes. This is by Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning. We see that happening. Now, down here to the south, this front is draped and it's going to create some rain, but I don't believe it's going to kick off any major thunderstorms or any severe weather this weekend. And then there's a little mini high pressure ridge that builds back up here around the Colorado area and the Four Corners region of the country. As you can see, this trough is digging here in the middle of the country, and we have some colder weather still with us into Washington State, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming. But there's a little mini ridge here that keeps the systems at bay for a little while, but then we have another system that comes in to the coast. This is by Sunday morning. where we'll see some snow here in the Cascades of Washington State, some snow in the Cascades of Oregon, and rain in the lowlands, some snow here into Northern California. And then it sort of dies out a little bit, but then it resurges by Sunday night into Monday morning. There will be some more snow that falls, especially into the Washington Cascades. And this system let me back it up a little bit. Actually, I'll come back over here to the east and share my thoughts on this here for the weekend for the East Coast. You're going to see a little bit of snow come back into the picture for you. But talking about this really quickly, snow again for the Cascades, heavier snow. This is Monday. And then this is when the colder air sneaks down into Florida, where your temperatures are going to cool back down, something that you are sort of used to this winter, something that is not what you are actually used to. The wintertime, there can be some cooler air for a couple weeks, but it's just been off and on a lot of this winter for you all in Florida, especially northern Florida and central Florida. Now, I'm going to take this back a little bit really quickly. This is Friday night into Saturday morning. We see this low pressure come at us from the west here to the mid-Atlantic area. Now, this European model is bringing snow into the picture, maybe some mixed precipitation for you all here, but some snow nonetheless, and some heavier snow for Pennsylvania with those dark purple colors. And as this low pressure system bounces off the coast, there's going to be rain at the coast, and then you go inland. And again, like always, depending on the placement of this low will determine whether you see snow closer to the coast or rain reaching all the way inland, where you'll see rain here from about the I-95 corridor south, and then some snow into Pennsylvania and up into New York. Or if that low stays far enough off the coast, if that will bring the cold air down, and you will see a lot of snow for northern and central Maryland and Delaware and southern New Jersey as well, and only rain on the immediate coast. Now, this is Sunday morning, so you all will be in this potential for snow. It is still too early to determine how much snow. I don't like to forecast snow amounts. It's still Wednesday until about 2 or 3 days prior, which is going to be tomorrow or Friday. So, but it's still looking like you all are going to get some snow, and this is Sunday evening. You are still going to see some snow, and this low pressure system isn't going to pull out until early Monday morning. So for your Monday morning commute, there will be no snow falling, but snow will have fallen. So that'll be interesting to see how that works with your commute Monday morning. But behind it, that's when this colder air starts to filter down and come into Florida. As you can see with these blue lines, Florida, you're going to get in on the cooler air, and that low pressure system, that high pressure builds back in a little bit into the Four Corners region with some snow on the fringes where it's still cold up here into Idaho, Montana, and the Cascades of Washington and Oregon. So that is what it looks like. This is through Tuesday. This is about 6 days away. And really quickly, we're going to take a look at the temperatures. Again, this Arctic air outbreak here into Montana, and this purple sort of grows a little bit, and it still stays warm down here to the south. And then we have purples that move over a little bit to the east into North Dakota and filters down a little bit. And as we go, it sort of propagates east a little bit. But we don't have any super cold air that is going to come in, except for Sunday after this system comes through and brings cold air in, but not super cold air in. Cold enough for snow, but this is Monday, and you can see that colder air coming down south into Florida by Monday. So you all are going to be cooler, but not cold like you have been. All right, guys, that is what we have going on for the next 5 to 7 days. Of course, I come back daily and either do short form videos or these longer form videos to update my weather depending on what I see and what is coming. But we have, it is, the latter half of February now. So as soon as February turns into March, we should be on a upward trajectory for temperatures, especially for this part of the country and the eastern part of the country. I think this part of the country is going to see a cool spring, but that remains to be determined. But that is it for now. I will be back with more updates, and this is Kate Weatherwise saying good night.